Okay.
I think we are live. What's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are all having yourself a fantastic Tuesday. We got a special guest, Miss Keely Dickus, who was able to close and land a $3,000 deal, which is crazy, 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 crazy. Show some love in the comment section. Keely is crushing it. She recently was able to close a $3,000 deal. If you guys remember, literally a few weeks before, she landed her first paying client, which is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So talk to us, Keely. How you feeling about that?
I'm feeling so excited.
I love it. I love it. I know it's crazy because I even in our last conversation as well, it's
Mhm.
like through persistence, through dedication, through commitment, you just never know the outcome of what's gonna happen.
So true.
Right. And whether it be
Yeah.
going to the first client that you got at $500 a few weeks ago, and then even
Mhm.
landing this client right now,
Mhm.
which is crazy. It's like you just never know what can happen if you stay dedicated, you stay
Yeah.
persistent, you push through barriers and obstacles. And I know, Keely,
Yeah.
you went through, I know we were talking on the phone all the time about the challenges, messaging,
Yeah.
but that shows though like an inspiration
Yeah.
that you never know what can happen if you continue to push through, you stay
Mhm.
consistent, you
Mhm.
persevere, and really making sure that you progress towards your goals. And I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest thing. And again, like from the first conversation to this, it's inspiring seeing that. It's truly
Aw, thank you.
right. It's truly
Thanks.
inspiring seeing that for sure, for sure, for sure. So kind of break it down, Kelly. So kind of break with
Mhm.
us really, your journey, who you are, and really how you started your copywriting business and really why you started it as well.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Keely. Obviously, I live in Colorado. I love the rock climbing adventure lifestyle. So for me, copywriting was a way, like my dream, as a lot of people have, is to work flexibly. Like work when I want to work, take on the clients I want to work with, not the ones I don't, set my own rates eventually, all of that good stuff. And I also love writing, and I'm pretty creative, and copywriting is creative, but it also solves a puzzle and helps your client meet a need, which is kind of satisfying to help them with that as well. So I was actually a journalist, and then I found copy, discovered copy existed. I didn't know what it was, right? I thought, oh, it's like trademark, right? Copyright, like what's that? But then my friend showed me the world of copy, and then I was like, oh wow, there's like a lot of potential in this niche, and it's interesting, and it's cool, and I don't have to write long form articles. I mean, I like that too, but it was like more eye-catching and attention-grabbing writing. So I just kind of started building and took a leap because I thought it's what I wanted to do and I wasn't sure. And now I'm just sure that it is.
And it's crazy too because even right now, like you recently went full time into copywriting.
Mhm.
Like full time into your copywriting business, I should say, because
Yeah.
I know you were working with, your agency before. I
Mhm.
remember on our first conversation that we had,
Mhm.
you were like, Nick, I want to go full time into copywriting.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think a few months later, we made that a reality
Yeah. It is really cool.
simply from the first paying clients and even
Mhm.
for this last client as well, where we structured the offer to making sure that
Yeah.
we landed that client as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's unbelievable to see what can happen in a few months if you stay persistent, you continue to
Uh-huh.
no matter what barriers are as well.
Totally.
For sure, for sure. And explain as well, like, what was the main reason why you really wanted to
Mhm.
really make copywriting, really grow in this copywriting business and going full time as for yourself as well? Like, why was
Yeah.
that?
Why was it what? Sorry.
Yeah, so why was it important for you specifically to really make
Yeah.
a full time thing for yourself?
Yeah, totally. I just once I tasted kind of the freedom of it, it was just like I realized that this is possible. I think like I had this mindset shift where I was like also working another job for a while I was doing this, and I was grinding doing both. And then I landed a bigger client and I was just like, oh wait, like this is possible. Like this can keep happening, or and eventually maybe I can get a client for a higher ticket, like higher offer, higher price. So I was just like, I believe that it's possible now. And I really want to make that freedom and that lifestyle a reality for me. So I just kind of took the leap and did it.
For sure, for sure. And I think that's a powerful thing of knowing that once you get some form of results, knowing
Hmm.
that all you have to do again is just
Yeah.
push through with that and stay
Yeah,
consistent to get more results for yourself as well.
totally.
Now, in terms of everything specifically, like
Yeah.
what exactly was the problem that you had prior before joining the program?
Yeah, the problem was I had a lot of energy and effort basically, but didn't know where to put it. I think is the biggest thing. Like I had motivation, like I want to get clients, I need to get clients. Like I'm not saying I was like the best copywriter ever, and I'm definitely still not. We all have to grow a lot. I mean, me especially, but like, but like at the time, I was just kind of like, okay, I'm good enough to get clients, but like, how do I find them? Like I was like, how do I get them to want to work with me? How do I connect with them? So that was my biggest challenge is like, honestly, I felt stuck without having a concrete route forward. And then once I found that in the program, it was like, I could apply all the effort and energy I had into a set course.
For sure, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things too is as well, like when you have a solid offer, because I know for the client as well, like this was
Mhm.
somebody that was, connected with you,
Yeah.
right? Which is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
Building that relationship, building that connection. But the
Totally.
biggest thing as well is when you have a solid offer
Hmm.
that you're able to structurize to be able to close
Hmm.
the deal, right? And I think
Totally.
that was the biggest thing. You can even talk about that as well. Like I remember we had our a
Yeah.
call like a few weeks ago. Like it
Yeah.
was like a 2 hour call. We were like getting everything
Thank you, by
situated,
the
we
way.
were getting the software situated. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is when you have, building relationships with
Mhm.
people, you have a process that you could follow to acquire clients for yourself.
Yeah.
You have a solid offer to, put a literally on the top of the cake.
Hmm.
It's literally you're only going to grow from there.
Yeah. Totally.
So
Yeah.
so kind of talk about that aspect of like, the offer,
Yeah.
really creating that as well.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, I knew what the prospect in this case wanted. We were like friends in college. So we had like a preliminary call, which was kind of like what services he was looking for and like how it could help. So I kind of knew like, okay, he wants like A, B, and C. In this case, A and B, but like, and then I was like, okay, what do I price it? And how do I like present it to him? Right. Because that's like what you have to do to close someone. Like it's all ideas until you have a contract and have an offer and have a set price that you agree to. So I was like, Nick, like, what do I charge? Like, how do I write this out? What exactly am I going to deliver? So we had an awesome call, went over that. And then
It
we
was like a
also
2 hour
had
call.
what, yeah.
It was like a 2 hour call. So great, great, great call. Great
I
call.
know, thank you so much. But yeah, that was super helpful because I walked into the call like I need to present these things. And then I walked out of the call with a polished offer ready to go, like a virtual handout saying, this is your personalized offer. This is what you get. And if you want to add services, you can at this additional price.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things as well is, because and talk about it too, because I know we package that offer and talk about the importance of packaging the offer.
Totally.
Because we could have done hourly, we could have done it per project, but kind of
Yeah.
break it down like, how beneficial it was for you in terms of packaging the offer.
Totally. So a package is just more compelling, right? Because it's like, oh, this person isn't counting pennies to serve me. Like they actually want to give me holistic value. And it's honestly just like an all-inclusive thing. So you get all these things at this price. So it's just like extra enticing because it's like, oh, you do this and this and this. You can do all of this. Like I don't need to hire anybody else for this aspect of my business, for the marketing aspect. So that was like, yeah, I think the
For
offer is extra compelling because of that.
For sure. And one thing as well, it's like when you have like specific elements too of what you could provide for them, it
Hmm.
adds up the value. It like 2x is the value, right? And
Hmm.
of course, like, selling hourly and selling per project, like of course that's good, but
Yeah,
when you package something, you're able to sell that at a much higher ticket rate because of the
exactly.
value that you're giving.
Yes, you're giving them value, not giving them hours.
Exactly. It's like
And like eventually, when I get faster at writing copy and better at writing copy, which is already happening over time, on my end, they're getting great value on their end. And on my end, I'm making more with less time. And I can write copy while I'm kind of talking to someone. I mean, I don't have to be like timer start, oh, I need to get some coffee, stop timer. Like, it's just easier.
For sure, for sure. And I think the biggest things too, it goes back to this line of people pay for an outcome rather than your time.
Yeah.
Like what that package does, it shows people the outcome. It shows
Hmm.
people what you can, what's going to be the result that happens right after, right?
Totally.
And now that you're working with this client, like kind of break it down, like how exactly was the kickoff call? Like
Yeah.
break it down as well. Like break it down, like
Oh
how
my God,
it
so
feels to
good.
not work with it.
Like literally so psyched. Like I'm such a nerd. Like this client, this client has like SEO optimized blogs, which is a little bit different from like direct response copy, but I'm also doing social media posts, which are more of like a direct response variation. So yeah, I kind of have two lumps in this package. And like honestly, when you start out, sometimes you work with people who are like can afford less and have a less developed business and a less developed marketing strategy on their own, which is totally fine. Those are good people too. I'm not like judging, but it's also really nice to work with somebody who has a polished business plan, who has a unique offer that is compatible with their market, who knows what they're talking about, and like, and is happy to pay me and happy to work with me. And it's been really rewarding so far and inspirational. And I'm just like, I want more.
Sure, for sure. And I think one of the biggest things as well, it's like now that you're working with this individual, and I
Hmm.
know you guys are fairly close as well, which is good.
Hmm.
Now the next step is get him really good results and just ask him for a
Totally.
referral. And that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. And this is how we just allow ourselves to have more time freedom while
Hmm.
also making sure we're getting more consistent clients coming through the door.
Totally. Like my priority right now is this client for sure. Like I'm always prospecting, I'm always networking in the back end, but right now it's kind of like that's taking a back seat because doing good results here is going to pay off way more. Yeah.
1000%. 1000%. And break it down to everybody as well. Like why specifically did you join this specific program compared
Mhm.
to really any
Yeah.
other program as well?
Totally. So I feel like a lot of us, we could do courses in copywriting, right? And Nick has this aspect too, but he also has additional things to the program because sometimes if we have like a course that's like on our own time and then it's like, boom, you're set off, you're free, right? You have the course done, but you don't have like a mentor. And I think that the world of business is like always complicated to some extent, and copy is no exception. And so when you have like those niche questions or like really specific questions, like sometimes getting an answer on that specific question could be the difference between closing a client and not, or getting an opportunity and not. And I feel like, I mean, Nick's there to help you with those questions and give you specific answers, which is that extra percent that matters so much. And he has a proven systemized method to like help you scale and help you get clients that does work. So you have like a roadmap in every way.
For sure. And everybody, Keely is a paid actor. I did appear to say that by just so everybody knows.
No.
I was just joking. I was just joking. I was just joking. But I think yeah, I think the biggest thing too, it's like, you know, having that feedback, getting those questions as well.
Mhm.
And talk about that too, because I know you and I
Mhm.
like literally every day we're
I
always
know.
always
I'm
going
sorry.
no, don't apologize. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm
Yeah.
here. But
Yeah.
talk about that as well. Like how
Yeah.
beneficial has that been for you, or your message
Totally
you in the group
beneficial.
chat as well.
Oh, 100% beneficial. Like
Yeah.
Nick has been amazing. He responds like literally almost always within a few hours of any message, like almost always. And like whenever he doesn't, because he's taking a day off, which he needs for his sanity, is like we have a group chat, kind of like a mastermind thing of like other copywriters who are in this journey too. And everyone's at different stages and everyone has like expertise and skill to different things, which is natural. Like we can all help each other out. So like if I'm like just the other day, I asked a simple question about like LinkedIn or something like that. And someone in the chat was like, oh, it means this. And like almost instantaneously, because there's like not a ton of us, but a good amount of us. So someone's always able to like let me know. So that's been huge. And the motivation, like to have somebody there when you're feeling like, oh, I kind of want to give up, to remind you like not to, is amazing, especially at the beginning of the process when you don't have results yet. So it's harder to believe in yourself.
And talk about that as well, because I think
Mhm.
that's a massive point that you brought up when you're in
Yeah.
the beginning, whether it be starting your journey or you're at a stage where yeah, you just starting your journey, you're trying to get results as well. Like talk about this concept of the push, the
Yeah.
motivation as well. Kind of talk about that.
Yeah, totally. So there's like two parts. There's like making the decision in you to keep going even when it gets tough. Um, And it's hard because it's not like a one-time decision I learned in my process. It's not like I'm deciding to take this leap. Like I'm gonna have motivation for the rest of my journey. It's more like there's always bumps in the road. Like you're gonna have spikes where you feel on top of the world. It's like, oh my God, I have 5 book calls. I just signed with 2 clients, whatever. And then later you feel like a loss in encouragement and you're just like, why am I doing this? It's never gonna work. So you have to like remind yourself again, like why you did this and keep a big picture perspective and realize like you're going to have dips and like valleys and rises and stuff, but the progress does ultimately go up. It's like this, but over time it's up. So you have to just like have a new perspective and like choose confidence before it chooses you, kind of. And then the more you do that, the more you feel it. And then the more results you have, and then the more confidence you feel it. And that's honestly been super rewarding for me, like almost more than the money, is the fact that like I can have a call with a client now and feel like I'm giving them genuine value because I am, and they're respecting me and I'm confident. I know what I'm talking about. And we're exchanging ideas and it's awesome. And it's like me a few months ago would be like so scared for every call and, wouldn't have the confidence. But it's just like, I feel like my character now is like way more developed and mature in a different way than it was at the start.
And I think one of the biggest things too, in terms of really growing as a confident individual,
Mm-hmm.
it just goes back to just taking the action to actually do it. It
Mm-hmm.
all starts with actually taking the first step,
Yeah.
right? And over time, you'll build experience and experience and experience, and over time, your character trait will build up. But everything just ultimately starts with the first step.
Yeah. And the steps can be imperfect and they are imperfect.
1000%.
But I think what matters is that you're showing up every day,
Mm.
I mean, there are things that I do differently now than I did then, but if I didn't take that first step, I wouldn't have the experience to do that. And like, we have a lot of time, like we have time to grow. So that's huge
No,
too.
no, 1000%. And one of the biggest things I really, really like that you said is just showing up.
Yeah.
Like the key to success, whether it be, business, whether it be whatever the case
Mhm.
may be, is 80% showing up every single day.
Totally.
No matter
Showing
if
up
you're
with
getting
effort,
results.
even if you're stressed about your second job, even if like you're a little tired, and even if that day you can only do an hour of work instead of 2 or 3, like showing up for the stuff you can do just pushes it forward so much.
Mm. And I think that's the biggest key right there. Just showing up, even if you don't feel like it, but just doing it
Yeah.
because you're focused on your why. And I
Yes,
think that's where
exactly.
confidence comes from.
Yeah.
Focusing on your why and knowing that if you continue to show up, you
Hmm.
continue to build up more experience, over
Hmm.
time things will eventually work out.
Totally.
Right. And now in terms of everything as well, like, because now that you landed this specific client, what do you
Hmm.
feel like has really helped you
Hmm.
with really, what's inside the program specifically? Why was it so effective for you?
Um, oh, there's so many things. I mean, so I kind of talked a little bit about the package and the acquisition, like the contract side of like, nitty gritty signing deals and price. So that was huge, right? But also in terms of like the skill set of copy, because your value ultimately does lie in your skill. So I think like extra, like the advice in the program to, looking at famous copywriters' work, writing out their copy every day for a few minutes, like small, consistent actions, like the modules, so the lessons in copy in the program, they're not like excessive, which is great. It's very to the point. It's like, this is what you need to know. It's like, this is the truth. And all these successful versions of copy, they all do these things. So like that was huge too.
And talk a little bit more about the modules as well and why you feel like it's been so helpful for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, the modules also have examples of copy in them. So, and you can do them whenever you want at your own pace. And like, you can just pause them. I like take notes as I did them. So you can take notes on stuff that's important and it lays out like every lesson, like this is displayed in this sample. So then you can see it. And then in your daily life, you can recognize copy in the world and be like, oh, like that's clearly that. And then, if you didn't take the module or weren't in this program, you like wouldn't really understand like what exactly they're doing there.
For sure, for sure. So really just those examples as well, you
Yeah.
feel like has been really helpful for you in terms of copy.
Yeah.
Very cool, very cool. And what do you feel like has been helpful for you on the other side with more the marketing, the sales and everything as well? What do you feel like has
Yeah.
been really helpful for you as well?
Um, like scripts and like steps for how to engage with prospects has
Mm,
been huge. So like, there's a few options. Like obviously you can experiment a little on your own, but like basically you want to like connect with people, give them free value, ask for a meeting, and then see if they want to hire you kind of thing. So like having that step-by-step process in terms of marketing was huge, as well as like tips for writing your own copy on your page, which is like your own marketing that they can see.
mhm, for sure, for sure. And talk about that concept of free value,
Yeah.
because I know one thing that we inside the program it's very big on is like giving free value,
Yeah.
right? And I think one of the biggest things that I've seen that you've been doing as well, like for landing the first client or even the second client as well, is that you've given a ton of free value first,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be through the sample, whether it be connecting with them and
Mm-hmm.
showcasing your knowledge and educating, whatever the case may be, but you've given value up front, and
Mm-hmm.
that value then reciprocated into
Mm-hmm.
someone actually paying you something.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
break that down.
Yeah. The cool thing is for me is kind of this mindset shift that I only just recently entered, which is kind of like if I can talk to them about what they're going through and share my knowledge in an authentic way, that they can take that home after just the sales call, the thing that I'm doing totally for free. Like if they can take home a couple tips on their copy, on ideas for future copy or anything, that's a win for me and it's a win for them. And if I do that and I'm not pushy, because I wouldn't want to be pushed, I don't want to push it to somebody else. But if I have like an authentic conversation with somebody, and like oftentimes, like multiple times, they just outright ask me out of the blue, so what are your prices? Like, I don't even have to say, like, I'm not persuading, I'm just trying to give them. And they're like, oh my God, like she's just off her top of her head talking about X, Y, and Z. Like, what could she give me if I sign with them? I mean, they're not saying that, but that's the impression, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like pulling them in without it seeming like I'm working super hard. And it's fun because either way I give them value, and either we sign and it's a client, or they say like, I would love to, but I don't have the money right now. I just invested in another coach. Like, and I'll reach out to you in a month, but then I leave a positive impression and they might refer me to somebody else. So it just kind of like creates this snowball effect. I think it goes back to like being genuine and helping people and like trying to make the best happen, and then good stuff will come.
1000%, 1000%. It goes back to the law of reciprocity. The
Yeah.
more you give, the more you give, the more you give, the more you give. Eventually, the universe will pay its back, and then you will get back in return what's reciprocates back into, whether it be a client, whether it be another reward, whatever the case may be. But the more you give and give and
Hmm.
give, the
Hmm.
more you're going to reciprocate back, right? And
Totally.
I think one of the biggest things that I really want to acknowledge that you said is this concept of educated, right? So
Hmm.
I remember you jumped on one of the coaching calls. You were like, kind of giving your insights on, educating people on sales calls when you're talking to them as well. And talk about
Hmm.
how beneficial that's been for you, where you're giving value, you're educating people on the call, whether it be helping them to improve their copy with their business or
Yeah.
X.
Yeah. I mean, that's been super valuable for me. Like it's helped me close clients, or it's helped me stay top of mind for people that aren't ready to pay, and they'll reach out to me often and they'll want to have another call, or they'll update me what's going on in their business. Like I'm close to hiring you, or like soon. So it's like valuable for me, but it also just like makes me feel like I'm helping them, which is me being like a helping nerd. Like I like that. So that's been like fulfilling to me a little bit. Yeah, just all around like good.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. And as a result of really, going through the program, whether it be following the process or jumping on the coaching calls or even
Mhm.
having our one-on-one calls as well, what
Mhm.
do you feel like was the outcome and the biggest result that really happened for you after going through everything?
Oh, yeah. If I were to summarize it, I feel like I went from like somebody more shy with dreams to like a confident business owner now. And obviously, I still have like holes and I'm still learning because I am still new to this, but I just feel like I've personally transformed so much. And I have like a plan and a structure to my business and all these things.
And talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah. I mean, now I like in general know what to price. I can charge a higher price, way higher than I could have before. I have more experience and knowledge and copy. I'm able to talk about it more. I have more insight in marketing as well through analyzing all of that and observing that and talking about it to people too. Um, yeah,
For sure, for sure. And I think the biggest thing as well, it's as you continue, like even in terms of the pricing as well, because at the beginning, I know you didn't charge your rates at $1,000 right off the bat, right? But
of
over
course.
time, as you got to experience with new clients, for regardless of that first client that we had a few weeks ago, you got the experience, you got that person good results. Now we're increasing to $1,000, and the biggest thing now is all we got to do is ask for that testimonial from them, have a testimonial interview with them.
Yeah,
This way, when you're now jumping on future calls with more higher ticket business owners,
yeah,
they can now watch those videos, and now they're sold onto themselves as to why they need to work with you.
totally.
Right. I think that's the biggest thing right there. And I'm
Yeah,
glad to see as well, like we're slowly, like literally growing each and every single day, which is the biggest thing.
yeah,
For
totally.
sure.
And that's so satisfying.
For sure. And
Yeah.
and how has your life changed? Really from you feel like in the beginning of the program when you first started a few months ago to really the individual that you are today.
Yeah. I'm more confident. I think that I believe if I want to make something happen, I can make it happen, you know, whether it's stuff in my climbing, stuff in my business, I have goals in both. Yeah. So I feel like I can just make stuff happen and I'm kind of able to see like where stuff could head and where I'm going in my career. And it's very motivating and exciting to me. And I'm just like happier almost. I feel more fulfilled, honestly. And that sounds so cheesy, but it's just like, I just like can't believe I used to like clock in and like work for somebody else and get paid by the hour. And like, that's fine, but it's totally fine. Like, but it's so awesome to not do that. I don't know. It's empowering. Gives me freedom. I have freedom.
For
Yeah.
sure. I think to piggyback off what you said as well, it's like when you have a mission and an end goal and really an outcome and you
Mhm.
push through and you really make it happen, things eventually just work out as well.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you even bringing up the fact that it feels more fulfilling for yourself knowing that now that you don't have an actual copywriting business that's actually making money as well, it feels a lot more fulfilled because you've made it happen. Like, of
Exactly.
course, you went through the barriers, you went through the obstacles and all those things, but through all that, you actually made it happen. I think that's the biggest thing as well.
Yeah. That's why, yeah, you're so right. That's why it's so fulfilling.
For
Because
sure.
like behind all the success was the risk and the stress and the fear and like, there is stress. It is risky. It is scary. It still is sometimes. But like the fact that like you can choose to work through that is really an adventure in life. And it just feels like I'm fully living, like I'm fully making the most out of my job and my life because I am taking chances for what I want.
Mm. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I just feel like life in general. I mean, I'm a climber, so I'm really into adventure and exploration and pushing your personal limits and growing as a person. I feel like that's what life is about, the core.
Mm.
And I feel like if you're sitting around thinking, like, what if I did that? What if I took the leap? It's like you're always going to wonder you down the road, right? Is like, maybe I could have done that, Like I saw my friend doing it and I was like, maybe I could do that. And it was marinating in my mind for a while. And then I was like, I want to because I'm alive and I want to take a chance and go for something. And it's exciting.
Yeah. And I think, to piggyback off that as well, it's like, although the risk is always scary to jump in, the
Mhm.
biggest thing you could ever do is take that risk
I
because you
agree.
never
Yeah.
want to get to a stage where you regret it,
Yeah.
right? You never want to get to a stage where you regret whether, hey, like, what if I didn't do this? Or what if I didn't start this? Or what if I, started and continued to do what could have happened? You never want to get to that stage because that's going to have a massive impact to really, everything going on in all areas of your life as well.
Totally.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, I bet in a few years I'll look back and be like, thank God I just like did that. And like the hardest part is the beginning.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, it's always hard, but when you're first jumping in, like you don't have really anything. I mean, but that's what's great about you in the program. You have Nick. Nick is the compass.
You guys are the compass. You guys are the compass. I'm just a guy who, if you guys
You're
have
the
any
sailor
questions.
on the ship.
No, I love you guys all. I love you guys all. But yeah, no, I think the what you said as well in terms of the risk factor too, because that is a massive, massive, massive piece. And of course, in the beginning too,
Mhm.
whether if you're even watching this right now, if you're in the beginning stage, you have a copyright journey, understand the obstacles that you're going through, the challenges you're going through, they're
Yeah,
all normal. Like, for example, like Keely as well. Like, I know Keely, like in the beginning, you were going through, challenges, you were going through obstacles, but the biggest thing though is this matter of staying consistent and persevering through that, pushing through those barriers each and every single day, and just showing up like we spoke about earlier in the interview.
totally.
Showing up, even if it feels like you're not getting any results, even if it feel like you're
And
you're,
also, I
Mhm.
would like to mention, I said this in the last interview, and I really want to emphasize this point because it's so true.
Yeah,
I remember crying in my room before I had my first paying client, being like, oh, like I'm so
really.
close.
I did
Yeah.
not know this.
Oh, not like hard, but my boyfriend was really comforting. But I was just like,
Yeah.
fuck, like I'm grinding so hard. Like I'm good at this. Like, why not me? You know what I mean? Whatever, whatever. And I was feeling really discouraged. And then I like had the imagery of like, I've had multiple experiences in life that, especially in rock climbing, which is about like persistence and trying hard and belief and all these things. I've had experiences in life where it's like right before you give up is often right about when something great's going to happen.
Valid.
And getting first paying client, considered giving up, picked myself back up and messaged 5 more people. Like I was like, we're not giving up because this feeling that I'm about to give up means that we're that much closer. Like I just knew that. I chose to believe in it. So I was like, that feeling means I'm that much closer to hitting gold. And then when I was like, okay, how am I going to get that higher ticket client? How am I going to get the 1K a month client? I was like, Keely, remember when you had a dip and it shot up again? If you kept trying, just keep sticking it out. And then it happened like a week later. It's like right when you want to give up, that's when you really extra shouldn't, because that's when all your effort's about to pay off.
Mhm, mhm. Man,
I just really want to emphasize that point because that was really big for me too.
that is so powerful. I didn't even know that happened the night
I
before.
was
That
fine. I was just
Yeah,
like, well, when you put your heart and soul into your business and your motivation and it doesn't work, it sucks. But that's normal too. Like you're saying, like all of us are just like, this is hard. Like you said, it's simple, but it's not easy.
yeah.
But that's
Growing
what
up,
makes it rewarding.
exactly. Growing a business, it's simple, right? You can do the messaging, you can post the
Mhm.
content, you can send the Loom videos, you can do the requests, you can build relationships with other people, but understand that's not easy to do as well.
No. Yes.
This also has barriers as well. And I think, you know, it's so powerful that you mentioned that story as well. It's like God, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, I believe in God, but
Me too. Oh yeah.
the biggest thing is that God will place obstacles, challenges in your
Hmm.
life to see if you actually deserve what you want.
Hmm.
Because everybody wants to have that first paying client. Everybody wants to make that first 500, $1,000. Everybody wants to do that. But
But
God
he'll give it to
places
you when you're ready for it.
when you're ready for it.
That's what I've
Ready.
noticed is I was building a character. I believe in God too, so same perspective, but I was like building a character through all of this. And that was all training for when I did get that client that I would be confident and I would be ready and I would appreciate it. Like
Yeah.
if you just get handed out stuff, you're not going to appreciate it, you know? You're not going to work as hard because you don't appreciate how hard it is to make that happen. So like when you get an opportunity and you worked for it, you're going to like take it and appreciate it more.
1,000%. 1,000%. And like you even said as well, like God gives it to you when you're ready for it.
Hmm.
Because again, everybody's trying to land their first set of paying clients, whether
Yeah.
you're in the beginning stages, whether you're at a stage where you're already trying to grow the copywriting business to 2K,
Hmm.
3K, landing a $3,000 deal, 4, 5, 6, whatever stage you're at.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get to that goal. But
Yeah.
God will place obstacles, challenges to see exactly if you actually deserve it. And
Yeah.
if you're able to stick through it long enough with
Hmm.
time, energy, and effort and action,
Yeah.
everything will eventually work out.
Yeah, it
Yep.
totally will. It totally will. Yeah. And then like someone might see the opportunity you get and be like, wow, they're lucky. And it's like, no, like you don't see all the grind. You don't see, the disbelief, the fuck this thing moments.
It happens. It
Yeah,
happens.
it happens
It's
to
a
all of
matter.
us.
It's a matter of just pushing through that. It's a matter
Totally.
right? And man, like even if I were to reflect as well, like even in my copywriter, because it's so crazy that you said that, and I hope this is inspiring and and motivating a lot of people that are watching this right now, because you just never know what can happen.
Hmm.
You just don't know what you don't know.
You
Like
really
you never
don't.
know what can happen until you push through the next day, or you
Hmm.
send out that next message, or you post that next content, or you send out that next Loom video, or you do that one request, or you message people that were your friends a few years ago. You just never know what
You
can
never
happen.
know.
You never know what can happen. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that if you, as a copywriter, if you're watching this right now, if you could continue to push through those obstacles, those
Hmm.
barriers, those,
Hmm.
and again, like the biggest thing, it's like, yes, having the strategy, of course, that's cool, but it's having the determination, the commitment to push through it and stick with
Hmm.
it for a healthy amount of time for you to
Hmm.
be able to reach that goal. And I think
Yeah. And
is a prime
time,
example.
totally. And time is crazy because I feel like so much time in our life, we have a job we're not psyched about. Me before this program, and I was working 2 years in it. And time was like fast and slow and whatever. But then once I chose to fully go into this program, I realized what a day can mean and what a
Mm,
week can mean. And if you choose to make the most of your time, time can just like shoot you up. Like that sounds so weird, but time will just like will help you like right. You know what I'm saying though? It's
for
like
sure.
if you make the most of your time, you really get the value of your time. Because I
Mm,
think so many times we're just like waiting for something to happen, or we're uncertain, or we're not working super hard, but we still hope for the thing we want. But when we decide like, no, I'm making it happen, I'm not waiting anymore, then it's like, wow, a month went by and I did all that stuff. 2 months went by and I scaled from 500 to 3,000. Like that happens when you choose to make the most out of your time.
yeah. And use your time efficiently.
Yeah, exactly.
1,000%. Now, my next question to you is, where do you think you would be right now, though, if you decided not to take action and really into joining the program?
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I did. Well, I think that I would probably still be working for the agency, which at the time was a blessing because it was an upgrade from waitressing. So valid. That was a good chapter in my life. But I feel like I would have still been working for an hourly rate, pre-tax, and just like the only way to make more would basically be to work more hours. And I still wouldn't have been client facing directly. So I wouldn't have had that rewarding experience of taking notes on the client's product or service and interacting with them directly and all those things that go into fulfilling business. I probably would have just been like, okay, I feel kind of stuck here. I probably would have been like, I want other clients, I want more clients, but I don't know how to get them. And if I did find them, I wouldn't really know how to make as good of an offer, as compelling as an offer as Nick helped me create. I probably would have ended up charging hourly or something without thinking about like, do a package.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
So I would have been okay, but I just think my business would have probably grown a lot slower, less efficiently. And I don't think I would have had as many opportunities as I do now, for sure.
For sure. So you feel like basically, in terms of everything as well, it's like you felt like it probably you wouldn't have gotten those opportunities as quickly.
Yes. As
Gotcha.
quickly or close them as much, or been as good at copywriting or as much confidence, like a lot of different pieces of the puzzle.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, in terms of everything, for anybody that you feel like is anybody that's watching this right now, and possibly in the fence of really joining the program, like they're thinking about
Mhm.
it, they're like, I'm thinking about joining this program,
Mhm.
or I don't know if I should join this program. What would be the one thing that you would tell this person, who's watching this right now, who's really on the fence of thinking that the program is for them or it's really not for them as well?
I would say if you can do it financially without bankrupting yourself, do it. And when you do it, don't half-ass do it. If you're going to choose to do it and commit yourself to it and know that if you do, it's going to work out. It's like either whether it's in 3 months or 6 months or whatever. It's just like I would say like if you want to make that change in your life and if you're on the fence, it probably means there's something inside of you telling you I really want to do this. And just like take the risk because it's rewarding and you can make what happen. You can make what you want to happen happen.
For sure. For sure. It's like you once you just take that leap, you
Yeah,
know, whether it be just trying to get a client, it's when you just take that leap, you can make things a reality.
totally.
For sure.
Like just take the first step is what I would tell people too. Like you don't have to think about the big picture and what am I going to do about XYZ. Just take the first step, create a Facebook profile, have a call with Nick, just like little steps too. And then you'll just learn as you go. And it's not as hard as you think. Like it's effort, but it's not as like confusing as it might seem.
For sure. For sure. Well, I want to say, Keely, I'm super, super proud of you.
Aw,
Super freaking proud of you.
thank
Super
you. Thank you.
of course. Like I'm looking at the comment section. We got Taronica, we got Amity, we got Chris, we got a few people. Like they're literally, I'm seeing motivation. Like you're really an inspiration. Truly, truly. Like even
That's so sweet. Thank you.
of course,
I
it's
want to inspire people too, because I feel like it's not a myth. Like this is not a pipe dream. Like you can make this happen. And I just want to inspire people to like do it, to
yeah,
take the chance.
for sure, for sure. And I think the biggest thing as well, because I felt inspired even when you were telling your story on, from when you were in the beginning, where the day before you were, feeling a little bit discouraged, and boom, the next day it's just poop, landed a client. Like
Yeah.
that's to me that inspires me. Truly it does. That
Oh,
inspires me because it goes
thank
like you
you.
just never know what can happen. You just never know what can happen.
Yeah, and that's why I love the visual of the person like digging for gold, right? He gives up and it's like 2 feet away and he has no idea what he doesn't know. You don't know what you don't know, you know?
You don't know what you don't know. You're always 3 feet away from gold, everyone. Always.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Well, Keely, I want to say, it was, we're gonna continue to push through. We're gonna continue to grow. And I'm excited what's gonna happen next 90 days, where
I'm
we're gonna
so excited.
do another interview like this as well, where we're gonna talk more about what things happen, not of course the success, but also the challenges to let people know what happens in the back end when if you push through, you stay persistent, what can eventually happen as well. And I'm super,
Totally.
super excited what's gonna happen in the next 90 days for you.
Thank you so much.
Really
Me
good.
too.
All right. So for those of you that are watching this right now, show some love to Keely. She closed a $3,000 deal. Crazy. And yeah, I'm super excited for you, Keely.
Thank you so much.
All right. So again, I'm gonna be messaging you right after the interview. But for those of you that are watching this right now, hope this was helpful for you. I hope this gave you a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation to know that if you stay persistent, you have a process, push through any obstacle, barriers, whatever the case may be, eventually things will work out. I think that's the biggest key takeaway that I personally got
Yeah,
after doing this interview with you today.
totally. It's all about character. That's what's cool, you know?
For sure, for sure, for sure. I think that's the biggest thing. All right. So for those of you watching this right now, I love you guys all. Keely, I'll message you as well.
Okay, sounds
Have
good.
yourself an amazing night, though.
Okay, you too. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye.